Well, I don't know what's going on with that music for that introduction. It sounds a bit like Jazz Club, this is not. Welcome to Late Night with Lancey, Halloween special. Good to see you here. Crick House here in the chat, but he's literally here also, looking
indeed.
green. Are you doing the Incredible Hulk for your Halloween look here?
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Well, indeed.
I should go for the spooky vibe. Hang on, I just need to phase in my rock in. That's a bit better. There we go. Nice and warm. Yes, I'm good. Have some whiskey to celebrate the witching hour.
You actually look a bit like someone who's on the poster of the event I'm going to on Saturday. It literally could be you.
Don't cover up my eyes.
Let me do a quick comparison here. So yes, I will be at Hallarave at 93 Feet East, which is organised by Rave Days Houses of Feeling. John and Lee Reed. This is another day rave. I believe it's from midday until 2, so it's quite a long one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Another excuse to go dancing, always good.
Sounds very, very sweaty.
It may well be sweaty. I may bring 2 t-shirts actually, just so I've got one I can swap over halfway through. But yeah, I think there are still tickets available. There's a few. There's not many, but there's a few. So if you're at Loose End in London this Saturday, you like your house music, rave, that kind of thing, hard house, etc., this is your bag. And it's also, dress up if you want. And there we go. In other news, 2 people shot in London. Police search for attacker. Fun times. Yeah, it's good to see crime is in control. Yeah, do you know what? It's just like there was a. I don't know if you remember, but I think it was at the beginning of 2017. We had a knife crime, massive knife crime epidemic, and I think it was by March, there was already like 50 murders in the capital. Right? They weren't all knife crime, but I think probably about 40 of them were unfortunately young black males under the age of 30.
Yeah, gang related,
mostly gang related. I'm not making a statement by that. I'm just reporting the facts because I remember this very clearly because it was on the news, and there was a big article on it about how many. It was a record number of murders for the city. Totally appropriate topic to be talking about on Halloween, and and I'll never forget this. I was with my ex-wife at the time, and she was the one who said, "My God, it's just come up on the news." She was in the other room. Number of murders, and I sort of Googled it. Number of murders in London, and someone had done it. I think it was the Evening Standard had done an article, and there were these faces of all the people that had been murdered. And I'm scrolling up the faces, just sort of call it morbid curiosity, whatever. And I get to like number 18, and I go looking at this guy, and I'm going, "Fucking hell, Alison, come here." I said, "I know this guy," and it was a taxi driver who picked me and my friend up. Was like an Uber or whatever. I can't remember if it was an Uber or if we just flagged it or what we did. We had just been to see Avatar Special Edition, and there may have been recreationals involved. Anyway, and we came out of it. All I remember is I found the blue female alien very, very horny, and we were talking this guy's tits off all the way back to North London. And I'll never forget this. He was clearly with some sort of part-time dealer, so he was trying to sort of like sell us some illegal items, shall we say? And we weren't buying into that. We were like, "No, thank you. We're fine, thank you. We just had a good night. We're going home." And but I'll never forget him. He was quite a character. And and he was one of the people that was murdered. Taxi driver was murdered. So again, probably drug related, whatever. We scroll down the list a bit further together now. Three faces down. There's a person we both know.
Jesus.
On the list. 2 people on the same list. And this was a transgender person who was murdered by somebody who picked her up off a swingers website they had a massive sex and drugs binge, and he had a girlfriend. This guy, this prick, and he obviously, come down, whatever, cold light of day, had a massive realization of, oh my God, I've slept with a dude, totally freaked out, stabbed her 40 times, killed her.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, her name was Naomi Cersei or Hersey. And we met her when we were out clubbing. We met her at a club where a friend of ours was performing as a drag act. We'd gone to see them, and she was there. And her and my missus got talking, and they got on like a house on fire. And we met her again with I think might have been a fellow. I'm not really sure, but we met them again. I think at the same club about a month later, and drinking and dancing and whatnot. And she was a proper character, like really sort of larger than life type character.
Yeah, yeah.
To then suddenly see, she'd been murdered was like we were just I was just recovering from the taxi driver story, scrolling down the list a bit further. Boom, there's another one. I mean, it's a big city, so to know two people.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a hell of a lot of people living in London, and to know two people on a list of, would you say it was like 40 people?
Yeah, it's 50. It was over 50.
Okay.
I remember it was over 50. So you don't need to watch a horror film if you're living in London. You just need to be here.
Yeah, you're living one.
But that was 2017. Whether it's better or worse now, I don't know. I just remember there was a really big crime spurt.
Honestly,
anyway, welcome to the Outcast Creative Channel. Let's make it a bit more positive and cheerful now. So if you're at a loose end for something to do this weekend, and you like your house, you like your rave music, Hello Rave Part 2, 93 Feet East. Well worth checking out. The Reed brothers, John and Lee, that run those events, great guys, and great venue, really well run venue, lots of rooms, fairly decent toilets, which is always nice. It's quite nice to go to a club when there's decent toilets. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've already dressed up last weekend and came to the conclusion that my Halloween mask will stay on all of 2 minutes. So I'm not wearing that. But
I'm not wearing the spider mask tonight, Lance. I don't want to freak you out. So
okay, well you can if you want. I do. Well, I have a cool thing that I'm going to show you that I am going to wear on Saturday. Hang on, what I've got to do is I've got to adjust the lighting in here. Hold on.
Oh, setting the mood.
Yeah. Hold on. Right. Let me. Here you go.
Here comes the reveal.
Ha ha. Check it out.
That is luminescent. I like it.
How cool is that? And I can change the colours too.
Oh wow!
Look at that.
That's seriously.
So when I'm going to be popping on the floor, it's going to be great.
Yeah, you don't need no fucking glow sticks, man. You are the glow stick.
I've got glow sticks as well. Trust me. I'm going full Monty when I'm clubbing it this Saturday. So so if you do stop by Hello Rave and you are there and you see me, do say hello. Obviously subscribe to the channel. That'd be nice. Now I'm all in the dark. What's going on?
That's the thing.
Can't see now. But yeah. I mean, the funny thing is like I haven't worn these out yet, and I was thinking like, are these going to stop me from recognizing people, right? And the honest answer to that question is yes, it will. So if you want to come and talk to me at the club, come up and say hello, because if I'm wearing these, I ain't going to be able to fucking see you. So I might have to be careful if I get up on the dance podium on Saturday.
Yeah.
But
I'm just wondering how long the battery lasts, man. You better take a spare.
Well, you charge them up. You charge them up with a USB.
Oh, USB type thing, are they? Okay.
Yeah, USB charger.
Well, the thing I've just been to is pretty much the opposite of a rave. So
yeah, I'm going to turn them off. Right, there we go. All right.
Preserve power.
Well, indeed. But
Fandad, come join us.
If I've got any of my rave days crew or any of the clubbing people in here, shout out, let me know you're in the chat. I'll give you a hello. In the meantime, so people know this stream is welcome to all. So if you want to come on, especially if you're a fellow YouTuber. I know you're backstage, mate. You're just being searched by security. That's why I haven't been letting you. If you if you want to come on, if you're a fellow YouTuber, or even one of my long-term fans, let me know and I'll find a way to get you the link. Apart from you, John, not letting you in. You're loads of trouble. Right, okay. So yeah, Fandad's here.
Hello.
How are you, mate?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
I'm good.
I'm a long time fan.
So am I going to be seeing you? Am I going to be seeing you at this London rave this Saturday?
I'm already there. I'm outside waiting for it to open.
I mean, that's you're queuing. Oh, that was your tent. That was your tent.
Yeah,
that I passed.
got my bag and my sleeping bag.
On Brick Lane. That's very handy because you can nip out the tent and you can go straight for a curry.
Yeah,
and then get back in your tent in the queue, waiting to get in. So, you know, quids in really.
Tikka masala, peshwari, all the trimmings.
So, have you guys got a go-to horror film that you like to whack on Halloween?
I've got a few that I like to whack on any time of the year, really.
Well, yeah, I'm talking horror.
I'm
talking horror films here, not Pornhub. Just
sorry, did I say a whack off?
They can cross over, dude. You know,
it was just the way you phrased it. It sounded highly suspicious, so I thought I'd clarify it for the 11 people watching.
Sorry.
Left Eye, let me know if you want to come on, man. You're always welcome. So, yeah, but okay. So, Critic Hour, what would your be? Have you put one on today? If so, what was it?
No, I haven't actually. I've been pretty busy all day.
Would it be Arachnophobia, Eight-Legged Freaks, The Giant Spider Invasion? Any of those classic?
I do love Eight-Legged Freaks. I do love that film.
That's a good film.
Guilty pleasure. That film.
I think Arachnophobia is a pretty good film, isn't it? Pretty good.
Arachnophobia is. It's more of Arachnophobia's got kind of a dark comedy thing going on.
Yeah, I like that.
And apparently there's a remake coming.
I was about to say there's a remake on the way, isn't there? There's a remake.
It's been in development for a long time now. But,
yeah, it has.
I don't know if they can finally get it going. But the original Arachnophobia kind of, it's good. I mean, obviously it's completely scientifically implausible and that kind of thing. People need to understand that you can't get spiders crossbreeding in that way. But yeah, it's a decent little film. It's Jeff Daniels, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, to be fair.
I don't know if you watch, but there's a guy. You must have seen this. There's a guy on YouTube. It's a great channel. I just found it. Who's got he's built his own indoor, like what do you call it? Rainforest.
Oh, like the terrarium, yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think I've seen that. He's got
and
a biome set up with all the different animals at once. Yeah,
and he's basically sort of trying to create the perfect environment where he can put the various different species in, even the ones that hunt each other.
So it's got an actual ecosystem going.
It's got an ecosystem, exactly. He's trying, and he released a load of these baby spiders, the big fuck off ones in Australia that no one likes. What are they called?
Yeah, the huntsman spiders.
Huntsman, that's right. He released like a whole load of baby huntsmen into this place. And I'm thinking, oh my God, but obviously probably only one or two of them will survive. I'll see if I can. His streams are always getting recommended to me because I've subscribed now. Can't remember the name.
2 foot away from about 50 tarantulas at the moment.
Oh my God. So for those people watching, Critic Hour is a big like spider dude. He is literally Spider-Man in living form. I mean, they're all in different tanks and stuff, are they?
There's a couple that live in colonies, but very few. Most tarantulas will just eat each other.
Right. So I mean, this guy doesn't.
Two tarantulas in the tank, and normally you just end up with one fat tarantula.
This guy doesn't need me to plug him, but you know how I roll. I plug stuff that I think is good, whether you've got 20 subscribers, whether you've got 2 million, whether you've got 6 million, as this guy has. He's got 6 million already. But
wrong.
It's a great. I mean, what a great idea for a stream, and I think it's all funded really by YouTube. This is his ecosystem rainforest. He's got like 2 different ant colonies living in it.
I've seen this guy. Yeah.
Very
interesting stuff.
Yeah. Spiders have space to set up their own territories. They won't eat each other too much if they have other prey items to eat.
Yeah, that's right. And he sort of keeps a record of what's in there, and the videos themselves are really good. These are all those are the baby huntsmen.
Oh, it's a Heteropoda venatoria. It's the it's not an Australian huntsman. It's a pantropical huntsman. That is.
I like the way that Critical, from that vague photograph alone, is able to tell us the exact type of spider that we're looking at here.
I do have a spider channel. I do. It's educational. It's designed to help people get over their fears of spiders. It's actually called Spider Lord TV.
I've got a great way of getting over my fear of spiders, and that is to stay as far away from them as possible. So, if you haven't seen this guy's channel, I mean, it's not like he needs the support, but it is a channel that is very well worth your while. It's like watching a nature program, because he does.
Yeah, that kind of thing really does get a lot of attention. It's good work that he's doing there. Anything that diffuses the fear around spiders is a very good thing, in my opinion, because
spiders. Why did it have to be spiders?
Much better for the ecosystem than we are, for example. If we disappeared, spiders would be like, "Yay!"
John, what's with this obsession with poppers? That I don't know what he's going on about.
We're dead in 6 months.
What are you going on about, man? So, spiders are dead in 6 months?
No, we are dead. If spiders disappear tomorrow, we
I
are
see.
dead within 6 months, purely because of the amount of flies, mosquitoes, all that kind of thing they kill.
Yeah.
And obviously they're relevant to the ecosystem. So as soon as that disappears, man, humans are out. That's it, done. We need spiders. I understand people don't like them, but there's no need to be scared.
Sure. No, I get that they're our friends. I mean, one of the things I found really interesting was you had this big female praying mantis, and he introduced a male praying mantis that was sort of trying to caught it, but ended up being eaten, and I was like, oh, and he's got a baby croc in it as well. Look, this caiman. Yeah, look at that.
Adorable. It's got a nice little ecosystem set up there.
Oh man, I mean, it's a full-time job running that, and I guess this is his full-time job, but
expensive too, very expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean, you should see his house. His house looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I've got no chance of doing that in here. I'm not in the big room as it is.
No.
I used to have about 450 tarantulas.
But the wife said, under 50?
More or less, to be fair.
Keep it down to like 30 or 40. You'll be fine.
Number, shall we? Just,
Do you actually breed them and sell them to people, or what?
I used to. Yeah, right. I used to. Not so much now. I have got a couple of Cameroon red fangs that I'll be pairing up in the next couple of weeks, and I'm hoping that they're going to breed.
Cameroon red fangs. I mean,
yeah, they're not tarantulas.
Are you able to show us one of them? Can you show us one of them on camera?
Potentially, yeah. Give me a second.
Potentially sounds like yes to me, viewers. Stand by for a big scary spider experience. Let's see if we can get Al to bring us. I mean, I've never heard of a Cameroonian red fang before, but it sounds fucking horrible. Oh, here we are. Let's have a look.
Yeah, you were right, Lance.
Now I'm going to enlarge you. Hold on. Here we go.
You there?
Jesus Christ.
Ooh. That's her moving right at the top there.
Yeah, I can see it.
So I'm filling her up at the moment. She's got bright red fangs. Because I don't want her to eat the male.
Is that the one that's going to jump out of the box for Fandad for Christmas? His Christmas present?
Yes, it's in the way in the post.
I'll jump out of the box.
Just see.
Wormy Spoon says, if it can't eat a bird,
I've got bird eaters. I've got 3 or 4 bird eaters.
Jamalama says, I had a cane spider running around my floor in Hawaii, 3 large Hawaiian guys jumping on the couch, screeching. It was effing hilarious. These things are fast and they can jump. They're gnarly. So,
to be fair, I mean, like the bigger the spider is, the less dangerous it is, because it has its size and its strength to overpower its prey. It doesn't need venom.
So we were in a zoo in Entebbe, Uganda. This was with my ex, and it was the time before last we went there. So it's the first time we'd gone to the zoo. And I'd never been there before, and it's a bit different. How the zoo operates is when you enter, you get allocated a guide. So it's not like they've got hundreds of people a day. They might have, 2 or 3 dozen guests a day, and this guide will take you around to all the exhibits personally. you'll get to feed the giraffe personally, you know, giraffes, things like this. And as we were walking around, we were walking through this sort of artificial tunnel that they created, just a short one that connected one section to another. And I was chatting away to my then wife, blah, 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 blah. And she went, "Babe, stop." So I stopped and I turned. And right in front of me, there were 4 massive bastard spiders, each one bigger than the next. In massive.
Is this London Zoo?
No. This is in Uganda, in Africa.
Oh, Christ. Okay.
Each one of them in its own web, but each one of them sort of crisscrossing this tunnel. And at the end of their legs, they had hooks.
Yep.
They looked proper mean. I don't know what type of spider they were, but fuck me. And she went, "Yeah, should we go around the other way?" And I was like, "That's a good idea." and if she hadn't stopped me, I swear I would have walked straight through the lot of them. Oh my God. 2 of them were as big as my hand, and the other 2 were sort of half the size. Good God, they were vicious looking bastards.
So which do you think kills more people a year, cows or spiders?
Oh, cows, absolutely.
It's cows by a long way.
I mean, just the farting power alone.
Just gassing everybody, just dropping dead in droves. Yeah, I mean, spiders kill 6 people a year, and most of that is due to bad luck.
Let's talk spider horror films, seeing as we're on that topic.
For sure, yeah.
So your favorite spider horror movie is Eight-Legged Freak?
I think it's Eight-Legged Freak, because it's not really a horror film. It's more of a
no,
comedy.
But I mean, it's a horror comedy, isn't it?
It's got giant CGI spiders, so it's definitely horror to some people.
I think my favorite is probably Arachnophobia, because and the spiders in that were practical. They were,
yeah. They used huntsmans for the small ones, and the larger ones are just your basic tarantulas. So like your red-knee tarantulas, your bird eaters, that kind of stuff.
So this film nearly made my new book. This is everyone's cue to say, "Oh, have you got a new book out, Lance?" On the 1st of December, hopefully. I'm trying. Oh, Ryan Randall, good to see you, mate. Thank you for popping in. Is the After Open bar still open? It is. We've just started. And I went to see this at the Odeon, Leicester Square. That's the main premiere venue in London, central London. On the opening night, I don't know if it was a 70mm print, but it was definitely 35, if not 70. I think it probably was 70mm. And we were about 7 rows from the back in sort of row J, in the middle of row J. So, you know, you had to look left and right to see the whole screen. It's a huge screen. If you go to that cinema, if you sit in the circle, it's terrible. You're too far from the screen. The sound is not very loud, and you don't get the benefit of the surround sound. If you're down in the stalls, 5 to 8 rows back is where you want to sit. And I must have seen over 100 movies at this particular venue. And it was the last film that me and that then girlfriend, Kirsty, I think her name was, I think that's the last film we saw together, was Arachnophobia. And she tells me, I didn't tell her what film we were going to see, and she tells me as we're going in, "Oh, I don't like, I'm a bit afraid of spiders." And I thought, this is going to go down well. And yes, it went down about as well as you'd expect. I like this sequence where they sort of gas the trees and all the creatures fall into these sort of
funnel, huh? Are they like funnels to catch
funnels? Yeah,
yeah. That's when they get the big kind of bird eater. That
do people actually
the whole problem?
Do people actually do that?
You can gas spiders, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I just wondered if that's ever been done, or if that's a practical thing someone's ever done, or if that's
I don't think it's anything anybody's needed to do.
It's just a film bollocks thing, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Here you go. You want a bird eater?
Oh, let's have a look. Hold on. Is that? Oh, but I thought that's just a picture of you holding one. That looks very fat.
That's one of my girls.
One of your girls. Oh,
nope. She's about 25 years old now.
What's the longest that they live?
About 40 years.
Wow.
Not in my house.
Yeah, that fat one wouldn't live 4 minutes in your house.
You'd need a bow and arrow for that thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about this film is it's got a really good cast from the lead, Jeff Daniels and co.
Yeah, no, he's great. Yeah, he plays very much like a dark comedy. I mean, the John Goodman character.
John Goodman is the
John Goodman's in it, yeah.
And that guy, I can't remember his name. The guy who plays the professor.
That's Julian Sands, who sadly died.
Yeah.
And Johan Ferdinand, who's on the right. I think he died not long after this. I think he died in the mid-90s. Okay. If I remember. No, he's still alive. Okay. I remember him. It's because I wrote to him. There's another actor who looks a bit like him who was in a movie called Leviathan, and I often get the two of them mixed up. It's the guy in Leviathan that's no longer with us. That spider looks a bit chewed up.
Yeah, so I think it's fried on the electric board.
Yeah. So this is when the things fall down into the.
They're collecting different specimens, aren't they? And they find this super spider.
Peter Jason, who plays the coach, is a regular collaborator of John Carpenter. You would have seen him in. He's got a part in They Live. He's got a part in Prince of Darkness. He might be in one or two others. But yeah, it had kind of a. I just liked the whole plot of this.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's complete bollocks, but it's fun.
Oh yeah, but I don't need it to be real. I just need.
You've had so many of these films where family moves out of the city into the country, experiences something that is more horrifying than anything they had in the city, and it's the kind of thing that's been done quite a few times before. But Arachnophobia was good fun.
But this film was scary, man. This film was, It made
good jump scares, isn't it, man? And the thing that gets, it's not the big spiders that are scary.
No, the small ones.
The big spider breeds with the small spiders, and then they have loads of small spiders.
The shot that I remember everybody crapping their pants in the cinema, that big gasp, was when I think he either pulls a curtain open or goes to a window, and then suddenly
spiders are coming down the window.
There's about 7 of them abseiling down right in
the
front
bathroom.
of him.
So they're trying to escape through the bathroom,
and we all just went.
And they try and go for the window.
Yeah.
And there's just all these spiders coming down on their threads, and these are the spiders where if you get bit once, you're fucked. You're dead. Which again is just not something that happens. So. I want to say like arachnophobia was to spiders what Jaws was to sharks.
Spiders.
But in all honesty, spiders already got a bad rep, so I don't think it changed that much, if I'm being honest. I don't think it resulted in the death of more spiders like Jaws did for sharks.
I think with Jaws, no one really knew sharks were out there until Jaws happened. Because you don't tend to get sharks swimming around in your toilet, but once you'd seen Jaws, you thought you might. So funny enough, Jaws is in my new book. There's a big section on Jaws. Awesome. Arachnophobia was listed to be in it, but I've gone to it's 101 films, blah 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 blah. But I've actually gone to about 129.
I mean, you've got to have a cut-off point at the end of the day, haven't you? I mean, not everything can make it, and
no,
Arachnophobia will make my top 100 films, for example.
No. But the book is not my top 100 films. That's where
it's films you saw and influenced you, isn't it?
It's top 100 memories attached to films.
Yeah.
That's really what the book is. It's not a critique. I wonder where that waterfall is. I wonder where they shot that.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Harley Jane Kozak is an underrated actress, I think, who plays Jeff Daniels' wife. She's been good in everything I've seen her in. I've seen her in more things than this.
I've not seen it for a while. The problem I have with these films is when I watch them, I'm always seeing what the spider is and working out what the spider is.
So for on April Fool's Day, I might send someone to your house, Critical, with this logo on the side of his van.
Dressed up in a suit and everything, please.
Is there a problem with spiders here?
Funny story. I get spiders delivered by post, so you can get spiders delivered by Royal Mail, provided they're marked and they're sent next day delivery. And I had a postman bring me the parcel, and it said live creatures, and he's like, "What's in it?" I was like, "Tarantulas, dude." He was like, "Nah, bullshit." I was like, "Do you want me to open it in front of you?" He was like, "Yeah." So I opened it in front of him. His face just went white as he realised what he'd been carrying all this time.
How big was the spider?
It wasn't massive. It was like 5-6 inches or so. So
that is quite funny.
Not massive at all, but it was enough for him.
Yeah, enough for him to say, right, I'm never delivering to that house again, ever. After that, your mail was like noticeably late for several weeks.
Yeah. We tried and you weren't in.
It's a bit like the scene in Goodfellas after they like beat the shit out of the postman, and it says, "Oh, my mother had to go and complain to the post office because we never got any mail again ever." Oh.
Yeah, I did get a bit of a reputation after a while, but they were all right. But I mean, provided it's all packed fine. I mean, I've had spiders come over from Eastern Europe, like Poland and stuff. Been in the post for 2 weeks. They're fine, provided they're well wrapped.
How did the spider thing start for you, Al?
It's a really weird thing actually. When I was a kid, I was massive into spiders. You know, like kids are into bugs and shit. My mum and dad would never let me have a tarantula. They were always like, no chance. Like, I'm not letting you have a tarantula.
Right.
I think I was like 30 or so, and one of my girlfriend at the time just bought me a tank and a tarantula. She's like, I know you've always wanted one. Here you go. And from there it went to like 5 tarantulas, 10 tarantulas, 30 tarantulas, 50 tarantulas, 100 tarantulas.
Is that woman on the Metropolitan Police listed as missing? Should we check?
No, not at all. But yeah, you know, the thing is that there is so much variety within tarantulas. Like people just think they're just brown spiders. They're not. You can get blue ones, you can get green ones, you can get ones that are blue and orange. You can even get purple tarantulas. Massive variety. You get ones that live in trees, ones that live underground, ones that live in the desert, ones that live in sort of like forests. Massive variety.
Yeah,
so
the trapdoor spider. I always thought the trapdoor spider was pretty cool. You know.
Yeah, trapdoor spiders are cool. They live a long time. Pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. I had one. It's just a tub of dirt. You never saw the damn thing. But I've got a few funnel webs over there. I've got a few huntsmen. I've got a few flat spiders. I've got the red fangs.
What does the funnel web one do?
Kills you.
Not a lot. It spins loads and loads of web, and then just
hides in the funnel.
I chuck food in every now and again, and that's it. And then eventually, you know, there's some where, because this is the thing with spiders, is the females live a long time, especially with my gallimorphs, which are the older form, like trapdoors, funnel webs, and tarantulas. Aranamorphs, which are the normal spiders, like 5 years tops.
Yeah.
The males live about 20% of the time of the female. So basically what happens with a male spider, it gets to maturity, carks it. It lives up to its maturity, breeds, either the female eats it or it just dies shortly after. The females live 5 times as long. So
that seems
females when you have your spiders, but it's very hard to find out what they are until they grow up. So
so pretty similar to Italian men and women.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why you got lots of Italian widows wandering around in black. The men exhausted, died young.
The men just give up and have heart attacks. Yeah, the females live a lot longer than the males. So from that perspective, you know, females are much more preferable because you can have it for longer. But at the end of the day, if you want to make baby spiders, you're still going to need the male. So you know, you do.
What would you guys give 8-legged freaks? Not 8-legged freaks. Sorry, arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia. I'd give it a good. You know, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I don't think there's anything wrong with the film. I think it works fine.
Yeah.
In everything that it does. It's a dark comedy. Its tone's great. It's complete scientific bollocks, but so's 8-legged freaks, so that's absolutely fine.
I'll give it 8 out of 10.
I think it's fine. I think it's a good film. I'm a bit worried about the remake, but we'll wait and see.
Well, we'll see. Let's have a look at 8-legged freaks. So I saw this at the cinema as well.
Yes, so much fun. It's
this
got
came out
in Hanson as well, man. She's like young.
Don't think I've ever seen this one.
This is the one where Richard Mole's in it. Richard Mole basically is playing Critical in it. He's like a man.
Spider farm. Yeah.
He's like a man with a spider farm who's got like a spider hut on top of this remote hill, and sort of lives on his own. He gets bitten by a spider. Kind of his spider.
One that climbs back is a pink toe, which would never bite you. Their defensive mechanism is actually to shoot shit at you like a cannon.
Oh, fucking charming! That sounds great. I mean, you're not selling these to me.
These are jumping spiders that are jumping all over the cars and the tankers and stuff.
Yeah, because basically the spiders get mixed in with some kind of
it's radioactive waste.
Radioactive waste, which, as we know in films, always makes you big and strong.
Exactly.
unlike in real life where you
It's
would
got,
just fly.
it's got David Arquette in it. It's got Scarlett Johansson. I can't remember who plays the mum, but she's been in stuff.
Yeah,
And,
Dougie
it's a lot of
Doug.
fun. It's a lot of fun, this film.
Yeah, basically tons of different types of spiders.
Giant spiders take over a town. It's great.
Cause lots of rampage in a town. I think the big problem with it is because I watched it about a year ago. Because I thought I haven't seen it since it came out. I saw it at cinema. Let me watch it again. And of course, the big problem is the CGI in it is terribly, terribly dated.
It's aged, yeah.
Yeah.
So these ones in the background here, these are wasp spiders. You can tell from the white and yellow and black abdomens. And we actually have those in the UK. They're called Agiope brunecki.
I've never seen one of them.
They're mainly confined to the south.
Right.
You don't get them so much in the north. They are here in Nottingham, but not as common as they are down like Devon and Exeter. You get loads of them.
Right. I'm in the south, so I'll keep an eye out for them.
You're welcome to them.
Yeah. Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin are the team behind this, so that's Independence Day.
Okay.
Yeah, Independence Day guys.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
Do I need to watch this movie then? I don't think I've ever seen it. I've seen
Arachnophobia.
For a fun movie.
Is it as much fun as Arachnophobia? I saw that at the cinema.
I think this is not quite as good because it's not aged as well. Because
it's more B movie. This film's very B movie.
Yeah.
Arachnophobia is trying to be an A-list spider film.
Exactly.
It's still a B-list spider film, but it's a good one.
I mean, seriously, look how young Scarlett Johansson is there.
Blimey.
That's Scarlett Johansson in the middle.
Is that her with the glasses?
Yeah. The glasses, yeah. Are you not wearing your glasses?
No.
It's got
my eyes closed.
Good actors in it. It's got some great zany characters. It's very, very B movie. Like Lance says, that the spider CGI hasn't aged well because it was that time when there was still, I don't know what the budget of the film was, but it's a good lot. There's a lot of funny moments. It really is.
It's 2002. This film came out 2002. So this is the same time as Lord of the Rings CGI.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I imagine Lord of the Rings had a lot more budget than this to do Shylock.
They did, and they had more time to produce it as well.
I mean, honestly, it is a guilty pleasure for me. It's a good laugh. The film is a good laugh. There's this scene where there's this cat and it's gone missing, and it's in the walls, and then suddenly the cat starts getting slammed into the wall, and you see the imprint of the cat, and you see an imprint of a spider, and they're having this massive fight all up the wall and then through the vents and everything. It's it is pure B movie comedy laughs. And there's a lot of the fun moments. The scene where all the bikers guys are it's great with the jumping spiders. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good laugh. I can't say it's an amazing film or anything, but it's the kind of thing I can always stick it on. I can always enjoy it, and I'm just like, this is just.
I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say about a 7 out of 10. I mean, like, there's problems with it and stuff, but because it is just trying to be stupid and zany and B movie, I'm just kind of like, it's fine.
Okay,
it's a good laugh. David Arquette in it is pretty good, and as I say, you've got a young Scarlett Johansson. I can't remember who plays the mum, but she has been in loads of stuff. Where's my phone?
Right, we're going to go back in time now, and we're going to look at the best horror films pre-1990. Let's have a look here. So I've got a bit of a list here. Now you can argue that when we were talking best horror on my channel before, we did a stream, I think last year, top 10 horror films and whatnot, and I didn't let anybody include Alien on it because I just thought that's going to be everybody's number one, and it's also arguably more sci-fi than horror. So, but I will include it this time. When Alien came out, everybody in my school was not old enough to see it, but there was one kid called Max Hunter. Great name for someone who's going to go and watch Alien, Max Hunter. And his father and his mother were divorced, and his dad, who I only met a couple of times, was like a super, super cool dad. And his super, super cool dad took 13-year-old Max Hunter to the cinema to see Alien in fact, he wasn't even that old. Hang on. Alien came out in 79. Yeah. So
79.
Max would have been 9.
Bloody hell.
So he took his 9-year-old son, who was probably about 5. He was probably about 5'7" by then. He wasn't a short kid. He was reasonably tall.
You stuck two of them up in a trench coat or something to get him through the gates.
No, he basically went and said, the cinema manager came out and said, he's not old enough to come in. And the father went, my son has got a medical condition. He's actually 20. And he told him his birthday, and the manager was forced to let him in. So he came back the next day and he was like, I fucking saw Alien. And we were all like, how can you see Alien? It was a certificate X. We didn't have 18 then. I think the 18 certificate came in about 1982, 83, sometime around 83, I think it was, the certificate revisions. So it was an X. And like an X film was all like, ooh, it was sort of had a much more powerful brand to it than 18. X sounded like naughty and gory and you just knew it was going to have either gore, nudity, or extreme violence in it. It was an X. 18 doesn't imply that. 18, Die Hard's an 18.
Yeah. But I do wonder if Alien would be categorized in 18 these days. There's not a great deal in it.
It was certificate X when it was released.
I know it got an 18 when it first came out. If it was to be reclassified, Lance, do you still think it'd be an 18?
Yeah, because actually I took my ex-wife's niece to see Alien and Aliens double bill at the Prince Charles.
Prince Charles.
Yeah, Prince Charles. Awesome. And they were both 18s, and it was special edition Aliens. It's funny as well because when Alien had finished, my ex-wife wanted to go. And she was like, come on, Blessing, we're leaving. And I was like, you can't take her now. She's got to see Aliens. Aliens is next. Oh, we've got a long way to go home. Fuck that. She's got to watch Aliens.
Got to stay for Aliens, yeah.
She wanted to stay, so they stayed. The
special edition is quite long, but it's worth it.
Oh, well, what I said to her is you can only see a movie for the first time once. It's so important, man.
I would have loved for my first time for Aliens to be at the cinema. That would have been amazing.
Well, the first time I saw Aliens at the cinema, incidentally, funnily enough, I talk about this in my new book. I can't remember what entry in the book it is, but it's fairly early on. And I went to the very first UK screening of Aliens, and Gail Ann Hurd and James Cameron were getting like loads of shit from the studio about how big a release Aliens was going to get. And James Cameron was so confident of the film that he said, if you book out the biggest cinema in London and you do an early screening of it there before it goes on, and it was on release in London for about, I think, just the West End for like 2 or 3 weeks before it went around the country. And before it was even on the 2 or 3 weeks in the West End, it had an early Thursday night. And back then, you didn't have early Thursday night screenings. They didn't exist. These midnight screenings, that didn't happen. But they decided, Odeon Marble Arch, 1,300 seats, they're going to have a midnight screening. Now, my assistant manager at my cinema, Mike, fortunately, had heard about this screening because Cameron was very clever. What he did was, him and Gail got in contact with the cinema chains and basically said, tell all your staff they can come and see this screening. I think they made the tickets a blanket price, like £5 or something. And Mike said to us about a week before, right, we're all going up to town to see Aliens. And we're all going to meet after work. I'm going to hire 2 cars. And we're gonna go up and there was a whole big negotiation process with my mum because I'd never been allowed to go up to town with a bunch of like 30-year-old men. I was still 16. I wasn't even old enough to get into the film. And the movie didn't start by trailers and all that. It started about, I think it was about 1:45 by the time it started. When we got to the cinema, there was a fucking queue going all the way down the road. And it was like the queue for Star Wars, And this is people who had tickets. They were just waiting to get in because the other film was still coming out. And the Odeon Marble Arch was a really weird cinema in the sense that the the foyer was only about 8 feet wide. There was a tiny box office, and then right in front of you was an escalator, and you went up 2 flights of escalator, and then there was this massive long foyer with a huge big popcorn stand, and eventually you'd go in and you'd go either up another flight to the circle, or you'd go in the stalls. This cinema was massive. It was about the length of the screen. This was 70mm we saw it in, was about something like 22 meters. Jesus. I mean, it was huge cinema. It's not there anymore. It's such a shame. And I saw Lawrence of Arabia in there on a re-release in, I think, the early 2000s. And so imagine that, 1,300 people packed in that cinema with that size screen, surround sound, all of that. And little did I know, we were up in the circle. We were quite near the back, about 4 or 5 rows in the back. Little did I know, James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd were sitting like right behind us.
Holy shit!
Because they wanted to see what the audience were going to think of the movie.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing for James Cameron.
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's where you sit.
The audience to enjoy his films.
You sit at the back so you can watch the audience react. That's where you always sit if you're the director. You always sit at the back. Always makes me laugh when I go to film premieres and the directors go and sit on the front row with their family, and I'm like, what the fuck are you sitting there for? You want to see what you know? I know there's no one in your way, but it's like, but you're the director. You want to see what the people are doing when they're watching your film. That's you don't want to sit there. You want to sit at the back.
He's probably already seen the film anyway, so you can't gauge a reaction.
I was lucky enough to see Aliens 5-6 years ago now, where they did like the full orchestra playing with the Royal Albert Hall.
Royal Albert Hall. Gail Ann Hurd was at that.
She was, yeah. So was James Cameron and Sigourney Weaver.
And they were sat behind you, Al, were they?
That was fucking amazing. That was so good. I can't remember if that was before or after James Horner died either.
It was after. Right. It was after. And
there, so yeah.
No, he wasn't. No, it was after. They did it in honor of him, and Alfie Biddle was also there, and he was the son of DOP Adrian Biddle, who shot Aliens. And
right, okay.
And Alfie Biddle was my DOP on one of my projects.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't know who his father was, and we were like driving to France, and it was like, so my dad, he was in the Danish resistance, blah blah blah. He was a sailor and a graphic designer. What did your dad do? Oh yeah, my dad was a DOP. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, cool. So that's where you get it from. It's like, yeah. I used to follow him around on film sets and things. And I was like, oh, cool. Did he do anything I would have heard of? Well, yeah, he did. Yeah, Aliens, Thelma and Louise. I was like, oh, yeah, think I've heard of those. Yeah, very good. Felt like a right penile.
Like every time I speak to Inside Man, he's just like, ding, met him. Yeah, met them.
Oh, yeah, me and him, between us, we've probably met near enough everyone, I think, between the two of us.
He's telling me about like how he just randomly met fucking Stanley Kubrick. He didn't even know it.
All right, so let's. I'm going to ask you guys to name one film each, and you don't have to say where it would come, but in your top 5 of horror films pre-1990, and you can pick genre crossovers. So you can have They Live, you can have Alien or Aliens, blah blah blah. Give me a movie that would be in your top 5. Fandad, you can go first, mate.
I'm going to go with The Fog by Carpenter because he's.
Mate, that's my go-to pick.
Yeah. Underrated Carpenter film.
I think I watch that at least probably once a year.
It's so good. It's so good.
The funny thing about that movie is, I think the first time I ever watched that a lot. Well, I think the reason I got into horror movies in the first place was because I used to watch them as a kid with my sister. She would come upstairs, drag me out of bed. Parents are asleep, come down and watch. We used to watch like Hammer horror movies, all the Draculas, Twins of Evil, Frankenstein, Peter Cushing, all that sort of thing.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that I watched Alien for the first time with her, and I think The Fog was one of them as well.
So the Fog was first shown on, I'm pretty sure it was BBC rather than ITV. And the second time it was shown, it was part of the BBC horror season, which they did. I think it was either Friday or Saturday night. I can't remember which. It was either Friday or Saturday. And because they knew that kids would stay up to watch this shit. And they did two. They did one at like 8 o'clock, and the 8 o'clock one would be like a black and white oldie. So, that the younger kids could watch, like Invaders from Mars or something.
Yeah.
And then at 9:30, which was after the Watershed, they would do a proper horror film like Carrie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Fog. That's one of the occasions when I saw The Fog for sure. But yeah, it is my favorite Carpenter horror film by far. I think it's way better than Halloween. I really like the story. I really like the story.
Overlooked, I think. It's really underrated. I think it's a great film.
Massively. I remember when they were trailering the adverts for this on the TV when it was on at the cinema, and the adverts would come on, and it would be Adriana Barbeau shouting out, stay away from the fog," and it would cut to this shot on the trailer, and you'd see the fog advancing up the street, and I was going to my mum and dad, "Oh, yeah, this looks cool. You can't see that. You're not old enough." It's like, oh.
The music as well, man, like that kind of smashing sort of soundtrack.
Yeah, I've got it.
Coming up the street.
I've got it.
It's
really good.
But didn't Carpenter do most of the soundtrack, if not the entire soundtrack?
He did a lot of the soundtrack work on his films. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did it with Nick Castle, if I remember rightly.
Aye.
But anyway, I'll see if I can find it because I've got it here. I've got about 8 of his movies on vinyl.
But the freaky thing about The Fog is, I think every time I watched it with my sister, and a couple of times after that, it was foggy outside, and I shit you not. Like, you look out the curtains, and there was a fog bank coming in. Like 3 or 4 times that I watched it.
Okay, so here you go. I'll put my camera on. I have got these proper smell, like as in not like bad, but as in these are old. Like they've got that old record smell. So here is Fog on vinyl. And it's actually an import. So if you see on the back, I'm not sure what language that is. I think it's Spanish.
Nebel does grounds. Is it Austrian or German or something?
Original film music. Music spelt with a K. So yeah, that might be German actually. But yeah, and then it's all the black and white images on the back.
I love film soundtracks. I proper got into them when I was growing up, and
I really want to get a turntable so I can, listen to these. This is my They Live, signed by Roddy Piper.
Oh, dude.
And so that'd be worth something because he's no longer with us.
Nope.
And there's my picture with him. Look at that. When I had really super long blonde hair down to my arse. That's how long it was. Then I've got Starman, also Carpenter. Christine, which the instrumental stuff, which is really good. This is the American import. This is the American import of Big Trouble in Little China. The British vinyl had a green cover and was the same as the British poster. This was the American poster, and the British poster is way better. So, but I prefer this. I prefer this cover though. It's got a nice selection of pictures on the back and that. And then I've also got Prince of Darkness of his, and I've also got Escape from New York. I've also got The Thing, but I think someone stole it because I can't find it anywhere. So somebody must have stolen it like years ago, and I just never noticed it had gone. So it probably would have been when I lived at a previous address. So yeah, so there you go. So I've got all of them. Okay, yeah. So let's get back into The Fog before we pick another one.
Is all we see or seem but a dream within a dream?
Isn't that from?
That's the monologue at the beginning. Well, it's.
I was going to say that. Isn't that line also from Picnic at Hanging Rock?
I don't know.
That's, by the way, that's Jamie Lee Curtis's mother on the right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, in case anyone doesn't know.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lee, who was also in Psycho.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah, it's a great film. It's so atmospheric. I love it.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you're not quite sure who these guys are, and I really love the way the story builds up. Yes, that was The Fog on vinyl. Carrie Ann Smith, thank you for popping in, hon. How you doing?
Oh, that's my niece. Hello.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Hello. I'm picturing like a 6-year-old kid staying up watching telly.
She's a little older than that, but she's lovely.
All right, very good. As long as you're not, as long as you're allowed to stay up, it's fine. Yeah, we lost Hal Holbrook not that long ago. He lived a ripe old age. This guy lived a ripe old age. Yeah, I've. This is a film. When I heard they were doing a remake of it, I have to admit, initially I was actually quite excited because I thought, because I know when they shot this and when they first screened it to the studios were really unhappy with it, and they basically made Carpenter go and do a load of reshoots, and all the shots of all the gore were all done on that reshoot. So there was almost no gore in it originally. So all the stuff of like, when that guy gets smashed in the face and you see the maggot worms in his skin and stuff like that, all of that was reshot. That was all added later. So I did kind of think, when I heard they were remaking it, I was thinking, well, if Carpenter does it and he can do it how he wants and he's got a much bigger budget, that could be interesting. I'd quite like to see the flashback scene of the lepers getting like smashed on the rocks and them all being killed and murdered. And that would be really cool to like open the film with that and then flash to the present day. But they didn't do any of that. They just got a load of teens together, stuck them in a village, and there's some fog and some bad people are in it, and it was just like a fucking Final Destination film. It was terrible, awful film. Yeah, so it was so basically don't remake it, just leave it alone. But
I'm very concerned about Blumhouse's remake of The Thing.
Oh, is that coming? Is it?
What?
Yeah.
Is it an actual remake of the original, or are they just taking the Thing and putting it in a different setting?
I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. I only know that Blumhouse have optioned it.
If it's the second one, I'm okay with that. I think there's plenty of room for more movies with the Thing creature if done properly.
Oh no, it's definitely a remake. It's not an add-on. It's not like the other one we got where it's a prequel.
Well, the prequel one was terrible because the prequel one, they gave it powers that it didn't have in the original. That it's supposed to be vulnerable when it's out in the open. When it's out in the open, it's not supposed to be able to shoot big tentacle things.
Shame, because I really like the character dynamics in the prequel. I thought they were very good.
Yeah.
It could have been good.
The Thing itself wasn't great.
But I think I enjoyed it initially when I watched it the first couple of times, and then I watched it recently, and I just thought, no,
they missed out.
It wasn't like it was trying to be crap. It was just, it's The Thing. You can't. Anything that goes up against The Thing, whether it's a prequel, a sequel, or whatever, is going to have a hell of a hard time. But Blumhouse doing it, I'm not excited at all.
They had men and women on the base, and I was like waiting for somebody to snog somebody and them to get thing-eyed or whatever you want to call it, and they just didn't do that. And I'm thinking, come on, man, there's so many. You could have had someone giving someone a blowjob, and suddenly there's a thing penis or whatever, something like that. It wouldn't need to be that gratuitous, but they could have done so much with the fact that there were men and women on the base, and they just didn't do anything with it. And the tie-ins that they did to when the bodies and bits were recovered, on the whole, were just not very good. And I also saw the practical effects that were cut over the ones over the CGI that were then added. Practical stuff way better, looked way better.
Yeah,
huge mistake. So
I wish people would have more faith in practical effects and also miniature work. I think miniature work can still look absolutely amazing if it's done right.
yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
But yeah, I would give the Fog 9 out of 10, and I'd also say 100% definitely in my top 5 as well. Definitely.
Same, yeah.
It would be a toss up between this and The Thing as to which one would be. I mean, they might both be in my top 5. But
yeah.
Okay, give us one, Al.
It's going to be a little bit cliche, unfortunately, but the main reason I'm going to pick it is because I only saw it at the cinema a couple of years ago, or actually might have even been last year for its anniversary, and it's The Exorcist.
Mm.
And I never really got it because I'd seen it. Obviously, I've seen The Exorcist before, but it's always been on a fairly small TV or whatever. And I was like, yeah, it's an all right film, but I never quite understood it. And then when I saw it at the cinema, I was like, oh man, I get it, because the atmosphere and the sense of impending dread that comes across in that film comes a lot more on the big screen. So yeah, I'm going to pick The Exorcist because the other thing I was going to pick is After 1990.
Well, funnily enough, yeah, you can't pick anything from after 1990. Funnily enough, The Exorcist is on the sort of IMDb list as number 1. Where did you first see it?
When I first see it, it's just on TV. I probably would have been, I don't know, late teens. I remember my mum telling me that she was absolutely terrified by it when she went to see it at the cinema, like so much that she couldn't sleep and stuff. And then obviously when I saw it on TV, I was like, stupid, basically. I was laughing at it more than anything else. And then I saw it a few more times over the years on the TV, and I was like, yeah, it's a good film and all, but I'm not scared by it. But then when I saw it at the cinema last year, I think it was last year, again, I wouldn't say I was scared by it, but I got it. I got like the sense of dread that really came through on the big screen, much more than it does on the small screen.
The Exorcist was talked about at school like massively because everybody was going on about the F Me Jesus scene. and I hadn't seen it, and I didn't see it until it was first screened on British TV, and I have a vague recollection that it was late at night. It was part of that. It was part of that horror season again. It was on at like 10, and it was either BBC One or BBC Two. And by this time, I had seen. By the time I saw The Exorcist, I'd seen The Thing, I'd seen Carrie, I'd seen The Fog.
I've seen Aliens.
I'd seen it.
I saw it late,
I hadn't seen Aliens. Aliens hadn't come out yet, so this would have been pre-85. But by the time I finally got round to seeing it, it was just sort of, it weren't all that. I was like, oh, is this like what people are right? I think I saw it too late. If I'd seen it before I'd seen, because remember, it came out in 73, so it came out way before.
Wow, didn't realise it was that early.
Yeah, 73. So for 73, it was very, very gratuitous. But I saw it in like 83, 84. I'd seen the first two Omen films by then. Alien, I'd seen a lot of stuff that was way more gory. So for me, it was almost a bit comical.
I found it funny. I did. I literally found it funny. I was I can't believe people were scared by this. I
didn't find it scary at all. Linda Blair was very good at it, though.
I got more of a shock factor for me. I saw it sort of prior to the 1984 television act or whatever it was that banned a lot of the movies.
Mary White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and a mate of mine who used to watch all the sort of banned stuff, the Zombie Flesh Eaters and Nightmare City and all that sort of thing. I saw it. Would have probably been 14 or 15. I got the shock value out of it. It wasn't terribly scary. The fact that it had something to do with the devil always kind of frightens me, but yeah, it was a shocking movie more than a scary movie. And then it got banned, and then like in the back end of the 80s and sort of early 90s, it was selling on VHS for like somewhere around like £100 for like a pirated copy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Unreal, yeah. There was a few titles. I used to go to this kind of flea market boot sale sort of thing where you could get horror movies and stuff like that. There was a lot of collectors around at the time, and people were literally handing over big money for pirated copies on VHS. Crazy.
Do we know what's different about the extended director's cut?
I think it's got the spider walk down the stairs, from what I can gather. I've never seen it, but
the spider walk down.
Yeah, she kind of arches her back.
Right.
Like in what they do in the like sort of, it's called the bridge, isn't it? When you do it in the gym. And she sort of comes down the stairs like a crazy upside down spider.
It's probably a body double contortion doing the.
That's the only
contortionist or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing that this film has got a total take, including all its re-releases, lifetime box office gross of 441 million against a budget of 12 million.
Wow.
I mean, that's incredible.
That's crazy.
When it was released, audiences waited in long lines during the cold winter. For the sold-out shows were even more profitable.
It was notorious back in the day. As I say, my mum was absolutely, literally terrified by it. She said
some viewers suffered adverse physical reactions, fainting or vomiting.
Yeah.
Many children were allowed to go in and see it. In this is in America, of course. This explains so much about America now.
I know, right? It's like I was watching in America. I was talking to an American chap the other day, and he said, like, when you went to see Terrifier 3, there was loads of kids in there. I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, because in R-rated films in the States, you can still go in with your parents, I think, if the parents say you can, depending on your age. But it's
clowns are classed.
It's just because that impact I saw on the big screen. And it's the same with The Thing. I saw The Thing at the cinema, again, I think it was for his anniversary, so probably a year before or something. And it was just a completely different experience on the big screen, you know, with the surround sound and, you know, the immediacy of the cinema screen.
Yeah,
if there's a future for cinemas, it's probably going to be showing old films.
I took my ex to see it, and it was on the cinema. It was completely different. I mean, I made a point of I remember when she came over, we were going to watch Heat one night, and then I suddenly noticed, it's on at the Prince Charles tomorrow. No. Don't watch it. Don't watch it here. Let's go and see it at the cinema, because I've noticed there are some films, Magnolia's another one, that are quite long, like Magnolia, Heat. But if you see them in the cinema, there's no distractions. You can't use your phone. Your impression of that film is very different to if you watched it at home and you were kind of making dinner and getting up for cups of tea. And do you know what I mean? It takes you out of the movie every time you do that. So she was very impressed with it. Really liked it. The Exorcist, man. For me, it's I saw it at the wrong time. For me, it's only a 7 out of 10. And it's not in my top 5. It wouldn't be in my top 10 either.
No, as I say, the only reason I picked it really is just because of the difference of the impact it had for me on the big screen. I was like, I get it now, you know. I mean,
sure.
When you do see it on a small screen or a TV or something, maybe you've got distractions on or whatever, and you're like, and then she starts spewing and doing the projectile vomiting and all the rest of it, you know, fuck me, Jesus. It's like, it's funny. But there was something about seeing it on the big screen, and just, it wasn't even the scenes with Linda Blair. It was the other stuff. And I was like, man, the sense of impending dread that they've managed to impart in the film, very impressive. So, I mean, that's really the only reason, and the fact that I'm not that old and I can't think of much else before 1990. But but no, see, cinema was just a completely different experience, and I still think it's a good film. Probably a 7 out of 10, I guess. I could be convinced to go to an 8 based on, like, the thing is, like, you got 1 is good, 2 is complete shit, 3 with Brad Dourif is awesome, and then 4 and 5 are the same film for some reason, which is very weird.
Okay, Fandad, what would you give it?
I'm not really sure. I don't really want to insult the movie. It is an important film. It's got such a cultural impact, and like it probably did what it set out to do. But it's not something. I'm the same. It's not something that's like, it's not a go-to film. It's not in my top 10. I do appreciate what it's trying to say, but I don't know, maybe 6 out of 10 or something like that. Like I say, I don't want to insult the thing because it is kind of.
Well, no, I mean, it's you know, I'm not saying it's not a good film. I just saw it. If I had seen it in '73, it would have been, oh my god, you know, this was so groundbreaking, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like, you know, someone seeing this movie now who's seen, you know, a dozen Saw films.
Yeah.
The Exorcist ain't going to be that big a deal, you know, unless they saw it back in the day. And even me seeing it in the early 80s, it just didn't have the impact it should have done. Oh, guess who's here? Sammy Pete's in the house. Hey,
Hi,
how you doing, man?
Happy
Hello.
Halloween.
It's always good when there's at least one person on the stream who's a purveyor of quality shirtwear.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I got my Exorcist shirt on.
Hey, well, funny enough, we're picking a movie that you would put in your top 5 horror films pre-1990, so nothing after 1990.
I mean, I was surprised to hear what you guys had to say about this. I mean, I think this is a solid horror film. I think it's also one of the best adaptation from book to film.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good film. What I was saying is that I just saw it at the wrong time. I'd seen a lot of other. Yeah,
I didn't know what an exorcism was when I saw this, so I thought it was like hot shit. Because I had just saw Scream and Halloween and all these other slasher movies, and then my buddy's older brother was like, "You want to watch a really scary movie?" I was like, "Sure." And so like I saw it, and you know, I was like, "Oh, so this old guy sees a statue and he's gonna start like killing people, right?" And he's like, "Just watch the movie." And then like halfway through the movie, I'm going like, "The hell's wrong with this little girl?" It was like I didn't know what an exorcism was. But yeah, I mean, in since then, there's things that have come out since that are I would say better representations of this. But I mean, it's still good. It still holds up.
yeah,
But it's not. It's not. Is it the scariest movie ever? No.
no. Well,
Have you seen it on the big screen?
Yeah, I actually I just saw this and The Shining on the big screen this month. It was like they had you know, and those were two that I didn't want to miss.
Did you feel it hit different on the big screen? Because I definitely got a different feeling from the film.
I got a bigger thing from I got a bigger feeling seeing The Shining on the big screen. This yeah, no, it didn't have the impact that it did when I saw it as a child. You know, I mean, I think everything's better on the big screen. Yeah,
well, yeah, I would agree.
You know, everything's better when you see it with a crowd. Like, you know, there's certain movies that I won't not see in theaters. Like if it's a action movie or something like that, like you have to go experience it in film.
Yeah,
Or you have to go experience it in the theater. You know, there's certain jokes that don't land unless you have
an audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Like the films like Endgame, for example, that I'm very happy I saw at the cinema, because the moment that Cap grabs Mjolnir, you know, you get that euphoric kind of the audience.
Oh, that was one of the last superhero movies I saw at the cinema. Was Endgame.
Yeah, you ducked out at a good time, mate.
I've only I've only seen like maybe a couple of Marvel films since then. The first Black Panther. I don't know, and I can't. Just so bored.
Yeah,
just can't do them. Just can't do them. They're all the same. They're all just
films either.
No one ever dies. They do die. They're going to anyway. They'll come back and they'll find some way.
Reboot it with Secret Wars. That's all they're going to do.
All this multiverse nonsense. It's just
exactly.
We can do anything. Okay, well then, what's the fucking point? Go away. All right, let's. I'm gonna pick one now because I haven't picked one yet. And then Sammy, you can pick one as well. So let me see. Top five. Pre-1990. So it's going to be a toss-up between. I mean, this is a bit boring, but it's a toss-up for me between The Thing, Alien, See, I don't really consider Aliens a horror film. I consider it more of an
Aliens is-
action, gory sci-fi.
I think Aliens
Um,
is Vietnam
I'll
and
let
space.
people pick it if you want to pick it, but I personally sort of don't really put it in that category. Not the first Nightmare on Elm Street, got to say, that's a cracking film. Oh, I'll tell you what. No, I got it. I know what I'm gonna pick. So, yeah, definitely one of my favorite horror films of all time. One of the first horror films I ever saw, as well, and it was part of that horror season again. So it was like a Saturday night or whatever, and we had this black and white telly in my bedroom. So if my parents didn't want to watch what I was watching, I could go upstairs and I could watch stuff on there. What was great about this black and white TV was that if you turned the contrast right down, it would look like it was off, but it wasn't really off. And if I wasn't supposed to be watching the TV and I heard my mum come running up the stairs, instead of turning the telly off, I just quickly turned the contrast down, and she'd stick her head round the door and think I was asleep, and then I'd put the contrast. So, but on this occasion, I was allowed to stay up and watch it, and I don't think my parents really knew what this movie was, because the name of this film, if you don't know the background to the movie, doesn't automatically, if you're just looking through the TV listings and you're not a horror aficionado, which my parents weren't, you wouldn't have assumed this was a horror film. So this is my pick. So, and I was about halfway through reading the book, which my sister had discarded. She didn't get to the end of it, so I sort of ended up with Carrie. I had the book of Jaws, the original Peter Benchley Jaws book as well, and when I was watching this, when the prom started kicking off and all of that stuff's going, I was like, shit, this is because up to that point, there's a lot of build up in Carrie. That's what's really good about it. By the time you get to the point where, they pour the bucket of pig's blood on her and all that, you're really, you know what's coming, because they're going to do something mean. And then when she sort of takes her revenge, on the one hand, you start initially rooting for her, and then you're like, oh my God, she's going to kill everyone. And she's not really being that discriminate about who she's killing.
No,
and in the book, she destroys almost the entire town. There's the scene at the end, and there's probably a still for it on here, where she goes to visit the in fact, it's not her, it's her friend goes to visit her grave, and on her grave it's like there's graffiti, burn in hell, and all this kind of thing. And it's the friend of hers that actually probably could have stopped her from getting the pig's blood and all of that. I think, and that girl is played by the future wife of Steven Spielberg, I believe. His first wife. Her name will come to me in a minute. She's in a movie called Crossing Delancey, and that hand comes out of the ground and grabs her, like right at the end before it cuts the titles. And I screamed. I went, "Oh my God!" And my mum came like racing up the stairs, bursting through the door. And if you've seen Carrie, you'll know like the final titles are kind of like angels kind of going, ha, 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 ha. It's all this sort of weird children's singing music. And the titles are just going up. And after that, dun, 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 dun bit. But by the time that bit was done and she came through the door, it was end credits. Just go, what are you watching? What's going on? What's going on? And I was like, oh, it's just this thing happened. Fobbed her off with some bollocks. I can't remember what I said. And then the film, of course, was over, so it was too late for her to tell me. But if she'd known what the content of it was like, there was no way she would have let me watch it. No way. I think if you're being bullied at high school, you basically want to be this person with these powers. I just thought it was extremely well done. The mother, the actress who plays the mother, Laurie Piper, I think it is. She was so good. Nancy Allen was great. You've got young John Travolta, PJ Souls in there. And then Tommy Katz, who went on to do the House movie. Really good film. I really liked it. That's Amy Irving. That's Steven Spielberg's first wife. There you go.
Just talk about a cast of punchable high school kids. I mean, I know they're not in high school at the time, but boy, didn't you want to kick the crap out of everyone who was mean to Carrie.
Yeah, yeah. But it's good. It's Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
And he's a great director. I've written about him in my book about 3 times because I write about the Untouchables, big section on the Untouchables in my new book. This is when they're filming the scene when the hand comes out and grabs them.
Excellent jump scare at the ending.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying was the thing that made me scream, that made my mum run into the room.
I don't doubt it.
And they buried her for real when they shot this. She was that's actually the actress under there.
Oh, Sissy Spacek?
Yeah. She went under there because she wanted to do it. It was gonna be a stunt person. She was like, no, I want it to be me, you know. So they did it for real. And I think Sissy Spacek is absolutely amazing in this film as well.
Yeah, she is.
She's so good. And I like her as an actress just generally. And I feel like she didn't get offered some of the roles that she could have got because she was, for a long time, she was kind of typecast as, only cast her as a sort of creepy weirdo because she had those kind of eyes and that look. And it was very difficult for her to shift this movie. But yeah, man, look at John Travolta's jacket, eh? Check that out. He borrowed that from Starsky and Hutch, that jacket. Pretty sure one of those guys. Yeah.
So yeah, how I live my life. My closet is stocked with cardigans like that. I'm wearing one now.
I feel we should do a Sammy Pete cardigan stream. I'd give Carrie an 8.5. Maybe a 9, but definitely an 8.5 out of 10. Really, really good movie. Still holds up. Way better than that dreadful remake that they did. I think they did a 2-part miniseries as well.
Yeah, they did.
There's been a couple of remakes, hasn't there?
Yeah. There was the 2-part miniseries. Stephen King got a lot of those in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then there was the one from Chloe
Grace Moretz.
Yes. Yeah. Which I thought she did fine. I didn't like the movie.
Right. What would you guys give the original Carrie out of 10, Sammy?
8. I'm comfortable with an 8. An 8 feels good. I mean, this movie stood the test of time. Everybody kind of knows. I mean, I still see. I was just at a Halloween party. I still see women dressing up like Carrie. You know, it's iconic.
Critic Al, what would you give it?
I have to give this a 9. I think it's massively impactful. I really do. Excellent. The scenes between Carrie and her mum.
Yeah.
The absolute, like, the look on her face when the pig's blood gets poured on her. It's just,
I know,
wide-eyed, you know. And I think this film's really impactful. Yeah, I think I'd have to give this a 9, to be honest. It's a massively memorable film. You won't forget it in a hurry.
No, that is very true. Definitely won't forget it in a hurry. Yeah, Fandad.
It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. It's probably in the 80s when I saw it. I think I'll give it an 8 just so I don't get beat up at the prom.
All right. That's very, 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 very wise.
Yeah.
Sammy, give us a pick of a movie. So you can't pick anything we've talked about already. So we've had The Fog, The Exorcist, Carrie. So you can.
Oh, well, I hate to piggyback off your Stephen King movie here, but I will meet you with another one. The only Stephen King adaptation to truly scare the living crap out of me, and maybe it's because I saw it when I was younger, but that would be Pet Sematary, the original.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a film that I personally don't care for, but a lot of people really seem to like it.
I think I just saw it at the right time.
While I dash for a pee, which will be a short break, tell us what you like about it. What you think's good about it.
Again, I think it's a very honest adaptation of the source material. It's well done. The killing of Gage with a semi-truck and that whole scene there is just, there's a lot of things that you don't see in a lot of horror movies at that time, and like something brutal like that happening to a toddler is definitely up there. You know, they kind of had the ghostly student that kind of haunts the main character, kind of warning him about everything's to come. It kind of reminds me of an American Werewolf in London almost. There's things like that, and of course the flashbacks of the wife's sister who was dying of polio, and Herman Munster's in it. I think he's fantastic in that scene where of course he gets his Achilles sliced by an undead Gage is just a lot. It ends very unsettling with I always forget the main guy's name, making out with his undead zombie wife. There's a lot of horrible visuals in this, and I think it really it's a pull no punches adaptation of a very scary book.
Anyone else want to chip in about it, Al?
Yeah, I think it's all right. I think, I mean, I was on, I think it's Luke's Halloween stream, actually. And one of the guys on there, I can't remember if it was Blue Collar or if it was Toxic, said that it hits you very, very differently if you're a father.
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. Which I'm not. So
no, exactly. I'm not. So I'm not meant to breed. That'd be a really bad idea.
Technically, you are. You've got like 50 spiders, haven't you? So
true. There's a couple of snakes down there, some lizards over there, rodents downstairs.
I've only ever seen the remake, and I thought it was a bit mid. But
yeah, I wasn't I've only seen the original once, and I'd be like, yeah, it's all right. It's not a terrible adaptation. It's an okay film, but I can't say I hold it in any particular regard. It's not bad. It's just not. It doesn't do a great deal for me. But I think, like whoever it was said, I can't remember. I think that, you know, if you are a father, then this would hit you just completely differently because of the what happens.
It has that scene in the remake as well, and it is pretty.
It does, yeah. I mean, it's pretty brutal in the remake. If I remember, I think I saw the remake at the cinema actually, and didn't they change the ending as well?
They changed the ending. Yeah, there's the sister. That actually freaked me out more than anything else, just from the actor's portrayal. But I don't think it's it's not a particular. It's not the best horror movie ever made. But when I saw it up north at my uncle's cabin, this movie scared the shit out of me.
Right.
There's only one scene from the book that I really think this movie could have benefited from. And so the father-in-law has never liked the main character. And there's a point in time where they start arguing at Gage's funeral, the toddler who gets killed. And it gets so heated that they actually flip the casket.
Oh.
And the child spills out. I think if they would have put that in there, this movie would have been a lot. People will remember that a lot more. And and the makeup I think is fantastic. I think the prosthetics here just look phenomenal.
We were visiting a country house recently, one of these stately homes that's open for the public to visit in the UK. There's quite a few of them. They're all owned by the National Trust, and you get like a map to go around the extensive sort of Lord's Gardens, and I saw on the map it's like there was a pet cemetery, and I said, "Oh, we've got to go and check this out." And the funny thing was, we were we had this dog, Jack Russell, their hunting dogs, called Freddie, with us, and so anyway, we were taking Freddie to this place, and then we came in, and it wasn't a creepy looking cemetery like this one, but basically there was about 15 little graves, and each one of them had a name of a dog on it, and how old it was when it died. And as soon as Freddie arrived in this place, he was like, not sure I want to hang around here. The dog was looking around like, somewhat kind of anxious, and some other people walked by and said, not sure he likes it here. And I said, what are you talking about? He's picking out his spot. But Yeah, it was because dogs have got an incredible sense of smell, haven't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so that he probably knew there were dogs buried there. He could probably smell it, and but it's quite weird to see all these little sort of it's not quite as creepy as this place.
Yeah. My 2 dogs smell incredible too.
Okay, Pet Cemetery. What would people give it out of 10? So Sammy, you picked it. You go first.
I give it a 7.5. It's not like I said, it's not perfect. But
Okay.
as far as is it a scary movie? Yeah. I still get uncomfortable watching it. They understood the assignment.
It's only a 6 for me. Al, what would you give it?
I'll give it a 7. It's solid. It's just it's not anything particularly amazing to me, but it's certainly a solid film. There's not a great deal wrong with it. It's just it just doesn't. It's not something that would come to mind. It's not something that I hold any great esteem for. But it's all right. If it was on, I wouldn't turn it off.
Fandad?
I've only seen the remake, so I'll give that one a 5. But I will endeavour to watch the original because just on the practical effects alone that we've just seen there, I'm intrigued.
On that subject, Fandad, do you want to pick another one?
Let me have a look. I've got a list somewhere. I'll tell you what, I'll go with The Omen because that's another early one for me. That's another nostalgic movie.
My friend's father directed the 3rd one, I think.
Oh wow, with Sam Neill. Is it Sam Neill?
Yeah, Sam Neill.
Yeah,
they're all pretty good. But
it's actually not as it had a terrible rep when it came out.
Yeah.
But actually, I've rewatched it recently, and it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I think it was more when you're a young'un and you're seeing people decapitated with sheets of glass. And
that's David Warner's character.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that still haunts me today because
isn't that in the second one? Is that in the second one, or
it's in the first one when they go to Italy? I think he goes to Italy with Gregory Peck, and he throws the knives away on this building site. He goes to retrieve the knives, and then there's a truck with a load of sheets of glass on the back.
Oh no, I remember.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Gregory Peck.
Yeah, because Satanic Angle probably added to that a little bit.
Patrick Troughton gets killed by the church.
Yeah, the big spike. Yeah.
Goes right through the middle of him because
horrible.
David Warner's been photographing people, and he's noticed that people that are going to die have had like a line through the print, and then he realizes he's got a line through his own one.
He's going through his neck, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's seeing his head bounce along that pane of glass. I think that's what sort of really shocked me as a child.
Interesting. Yeah. This is again. I saw this on TV.
Yeah.
Again, I think it was part of that horror season in sort of like 1980, 81. Was the first time I saw it. I found the kid so creepy. The kid proper creeped me out. I think this was shot at Windsor Safari Park. This footage. That's not London Zoo. Pretty sure it's not London Zoo. Anyway, could be wrong, but I don't think it is.
Is that Tony Blackburn?
That's Richard Donner. That's the director.
Oh my God! Is that sorry, Richard?
Director. I forgot Richard Donner directed the Omen because, of course, he did Superman and most of Superman 2. Lady Hawk is my favourite film of Richard Donner's.
Did he do Lethal Weapon? Was it?
He did. He did the first one. Yeah. There's the kid looking through the camera. Harvey Stevens. I wonder what he looks like now. Because I don't think he carried on acting, did he? I think he did that and that was it. If I remember rightly. It is a good film. Very good film. Creepy as hell. Anyone else want to say anything about it?
My mom said this was like one of the few movies that she actually ran out of the theater.
Oh shit!
It's the scene where they find the dogs in the coffin. my mom is heavily religious. She just couldn't take it anymore. She had to leave.
Yeah, I can imagine a very religious person, perhaps not, wanting to embrace this movie.
It was plagued with what some people might call bad luck as well, or a curse. That was.
People were saying it was cursed.
Yeah, 3 of the aeroplanes that they used to travel to and fro were hit by lightning. There was a crew bus that crashed and injured like most of the crew. Gregory Peck's son died 2 weeks before the shooting, and several other things that occurred on set. People were saying it was a cursed movie.
Really?
Yeah.
It was plagued by quite a lot of bad luck.
Absolutely.
Hell of a lot of bad luck,
I've heard that before. That's interesting. There must be an article about that online somewhere with a list.
Yeah, there's a few things. Yeah, yeah.
It actually won. It won Best Original Score at the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Yeah, because the music is. I mean, the music's iconic, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, scary as fuck. Ratings out of 10. I've probably got to give this a 9.
Yeah, I'll go for a 9 as well.
Sammy?
Yeah, 8.5 from me.
Yeah. Al?
Loves his decimals, Sammy, don't you? I'll give this a 9. I think one thing I really like about this film is the understated nature of everything until it kicks off. Very well done. So yeah, I think I'd give this a 9, to be honest. I didn't see the new one was really good.
Yeah, actually, I've seen the new one. It is good. It is really good. Yeah, I liked it.
Enjoyed.
It yeah, and it was a really clever concept the way it linked into this movie, because it's a prequel to this
that one in cinema, so I need to check that out.
And I really liked that, and I enjoyed it. Thought it was good. Critic Al, your choice. Batter up. What do you want to chuck in the ether?
I'm going to pick a film I actually saw at school for the first time.
We're going to have a school screening.
To watch it. My teacher, it was one of those weird, like just a random sort of sit in the class and watch videos days. And even though we were way too young, either this teacher had given in her 2 weeks' notice and didn't give a fuck, or she was just really cool because she bought an American Werewolf in London.
Funny enough, I was thinking about mentioning that for mine, but I've got
we were all about, I don't know, 13, 14.
Yeah.
And she bought an American Werewolf in London. It was amazing.
I saw it at a mate's house. His dad owned a copy of it, like an actual original copy in a box, so which would have cost probably about 150 quid back then.
On VHS.
Yeah.
The physical effects in that film are just absolutely incredible. There's Rick Baker, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing physical effects. The transformation of David into the werewolf is just like, whoa. But I mean, we was all kids, and we just thought this was like one of the greatest things we'd ever seen. It's amazing. Like when you're a kid, you're seeing something you really shouldn't be seeing because there's blood and guts and that kind of stuff, and you're just like, yeah, this is great. But I mean, the physical effects and just the story in general is as much about his survivor's guilt and mental trauma as much as anything else, and questioning reality. And there's a lot more to the film than just another werewolf film. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, American Werewolf in London, definitely not the sequel. Definitely not that.
Definitely, they did a sequel.
Yeah, it was in
Paris.
Paris.
Oh, you're right. They absolutely did. I have a vague recollection that was a bit shit.
Yeah, it was awful. Don't bother.
Never
even visual, I don't think you can beat it. It's so. I think that werewolf transformation is just iconic, and there's so many other iconic. The bit where he's sitting in the cinema with his dead mate.
Right.
So cool. They're watching a porno, I think.
Yeah, I've for my next pick, we're gonna watch the trailer for it. Actually, gonna see if I can.
Oh, nice.
Get it on. Let's have a look. Sorry, wrong screen. Let's just take that off. So I want to pick this because it's always been a sort of. There was a lot of B movie horror films, not big budget, no particular big names. This one was released on a label called EIV in the UK, which released a lot of sort of straight to video things that weren't going to get released in the cinemas. And so they released things like Ghoulies, this kind of stuff. This was released as in the States. This was released as The Prowler. Just want to make sure you guys can hear the sound. I might get copy flagged for this, but fuck it, doesn't matter. Yeah, there we go. But in the UK, this was called Rosemary's Killer. So yeah, and it's I like the way that it starts in 45 and then it jumps to 1980. And anyway, watch the trailer and we'll talk about it afterwards.
It was 1945, the night of the graduation dance. The war overseas had just ended. The terror at home,
Roy,
was about to begin.
Roy?
The Prowler. If he wants you, he'll get you. Tonight, the terror begins again.
They never found out who did it. And Mark, that guy still might be around here.
Oh, I don't believe this. You're talking about something that happened over 30 years ago.
Whenever the time was right, he'd come back. The Prowler. He'll get you. Night after night, he waited for her. The Prowler. If he gets you, you'll wish you were dead.
Someone's on the piano there.
Prowler. Just when you catch your breath, it starts all over again.
Oh,
You may think you're safe.
no one got me.
It's wrong. The
That
Prowler
guy gets like
coming soon.
he gets a bayonet through the head. That guy.
This movie's constantly suggested to me, but I have not seen it yet. And I wanted to click on it just because they have the design of the killer on it all the time.
Well, the thing I liked about it was it does actually have a decent story. It's from the trailer, it just looks like it's a guy going around killing random people, but there's actually a bit more to it than that. And the killer's done up in these GI combat fatigues, and for whatever reason, apart from his bayonet, he's got a massive like gardening pitchfork that he uses to kill people with quite brutally. There's a cut version of it and an uncut version of it. You want to make sure you see the uncut version.
Oh, Adam Gray just said Tom Savini did this one.
Yeah, the makeup effects are pretty good. But
so
it was
you had to say,
trailers like that, man. I really miss trailers with that voiceover.
yeah, I know, I miss those.
Yeah. It was released as Rosemary's Killer in the UK. That was the version I owned for quite a while. It took me quite a while to see the uncut version because we saw the trailer before we saw the movie. When we saw the movie, it had been heavily censored by the Merry White Brigade. So I was like, hang on a minute, there's like loads of gore that was in the trailer that's not in this film. Where's it gone? You know,
Stupid Mary.
Yeah, it took me a while to find an uncut version. It's not like I mean, I don't know that I would put it in my top 5. It would probably be in my top 10, and it would probably be near number 10. But I'll pick it because most people haven't seen it, and for a low budget, no name, you know, no big actors, but it's directed by. Funnily enough, it's directed by Joseph Zito, who was a go-to director for Canon later. And I've reached out to him recently because I'm trying to get him to come on for an interview. And when I was researching him, I was like, oh, you know, Joseph Zito directed The Prowler. No way, because it's a very different film to this, which is the other film that he's mostly well known for.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, slightly different change of pace.
Really?
Yeah, but
is no one going to address the fact that he booted that lass full on in the face?
Oh,
and
man, I laughed. I shouldn't have, but that was funny.
You would.
That was diabolical.
You'd never get that in a movie now.
Nah,
No, you wouldn't.
be the other way around.
Entirely inappropriate, but that's
Oh, God.
that's pretty push.
Feel safe watching the Outcast.
Have a size 10.
Prowler.
Yeah.
I thought that sequence was great when I watched it. It was like, my God, this guy is a proper
He
psycho.
doesn't care.
He basically is a GI who got a Dear John letter in World War II, right? And he came back, and on the night of the prom that he, you know, he should have been at, but he didn't. He went to war. His girlfriend that he left behind is about to put it out to, you know, some new guy.
Rosemary, I assume.
No, Rosemary is the woman in the present timeline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is just like his thing now. I thought that
there's-
kind of makes him, I guess, sympathetic if he's coming back just to kill the girl who wrote him the
Yeah,
Dear
well,
John letter, but-
there's a parallel to it in sort of modern times, and basically the killer comes back and decides, you know, all young people are evil because they're all cheating on each other and shit. So you just kill them all. But I really like the kind of the World War II Dear John tie-in. I think that's quite good. Somebody could come back and do a big budget version of this, you know, where he comes in and massacres a whole lot of people with a Thompson in the prom or something. But it would actually be pretty good if they went with the same plot. But the opening 2 minutes is really well done. It's like somebody's reading out the letter. You've got all this black and white footage of people going off to war, and it's kind of a cool little movie. So that was my
right now. I might hunker down and
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
We'll do a few more. I'll wrap it up in about 12 minutes. So let Sammy,
I'm in no rush. I'm just, you know.
No, I'm going to wrap it up. So it's nearly 2 a.m. over here. I'm going to wrap it up soonish, 15 minutes or so. Sammy, you want to pick another one?
I'm caught shit in my last stream for this one. I like Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes, it's 1992. So you can't have it technically.
Oh, it is 92. All right, fine.
You can't pick that. You could,
all right. What was the year? What was the year again?
Anything from 1990 or earlier.
I don't think it's truly scary, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, and I think it's a Halloween staple is Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, you bastard! I was going to say that.
Oh, you're talking about the very first one.
No, not Night of the Living Dead.
No, the comedy one they did.
The comedy one, the one that really kind of emphasized that zombies want to eat brains.
The one with the that sits out in the graveyard
with Tar Man.
That's the one where. That's the one where the boyfriend's going, "Please let me eat your brain."
Yep.
Send more paramedics.
Yeah, I was going to pick that one. Good call, man.
Police officer. I love my favorite scene of the whole one is when they're like, "Who's the president?" And he's like, Harry Truman.
Directed by Dan O'Bannon.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I went to see this at the cinema. It was 1990 it came out, I think. No, hang on. We took The Night of the Living Dead. That was Tom Savini.
Yeah, no, that's Tom Savini. The Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead. I am thinking of the right one. I just got the name. Yeah. This is the one. 1985, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember the Dan O'Bannon. Yeah. Good film. Kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. That's the thing.
Kind of silly.
Yeah, very silly.
But everybody's got like really mad 80s hair in this film.
Yes,
yeah,
they do.
There's a load of punks in the graveyard, isn't it? Having sex and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, I saw this at the Prince Charles, funnily enough.
Nice.
Karate Kid 2. And the film itself is showing. Yeah, me and my friend Charlotte Gray went up to see it one day, and funnily enough, Die Hard was still showing when this was on.
Really?
Yeah, because we got this in the UK way later than you. Didn't get a release until quite some time after.
It's just like one of the long lines of like the just crazy disorganized continuity of Night of the Living Dead because of how badly they botched the copyright and who has the rights to it. And I don't know. I just think this one is the most fun. The only thing that I would say is actual horror is the they had the dead body on the gurney there, and they're like, I can feel myself decay, and you're like, oh man, okay, that's creepy. But oh yeah, and her
it's slapstick, isn't it, more than anything else?
Yeah, it is. It's all there's certain times where some of these zombies are almost taking like hits from like the Marx Brothers, where like, which is hilarious to think about. But I think the effects, even though they're dated, they're still a lot of fun. There's some genuine, I wouldn't say there's genuine scares, but I would say that part on the gurney is definitely creepy. And I mean, it's a very hopeless ending.
I love when the police turn up and they just get absolutely destroyed.
Oh yeah, like if there's a lot of people who like rate certain zombie situations, I'd say this is like the number one worst case scenario, because like they just don't die.
It's a $2 super chat from Darth Plato. How about the car? Funnily enough, I watched the car about 8 weeks ago. That's the one where the sort of driverless car goes around murdering everybody, and it doesn't actually have any doors. And yeah, it's kind of cool. And it's right up there. There was like 3 or 4 movies that came out that were quite similar to that. One of them was called Kill Dozer, about a ghost dozer that goes around murdering people on a building site. And I think there was another one similar to the car that was, and then of course you've got Steven Spielberg's Jewel, which is the hearse.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that one.
Is that Killdozer? Is that like 70s or 80s? I think I remember saying that as a kid on TV.
70, 79 round there.
Yeah. I remember that one, yeah.
It was I saw it was shown on TV. I think it was part of that horror season. I'm curious to see the poster for it. Let me see if I can find it, because it's right up there with like Sharknado for total nonsense, isn't it? Really, Killdozer 74, and it actually had Robert Urich in it. If you can believe that. Clearly, he hadn't yet taken the role of Spencer for Hire, or whatever his big gig was. I think was that. So Killdozer, ABC suspense movie. So it's like an ABC suspense movie of the week,
Amazing.
So I watched this not that long ago because I wanted to see it. It was a bit shit. I'll be honest, and it wasn't even like fun in a bad way. It was just kind of bad.
Yeah.
Just because I just this kind of ghost dozer, I just didn't really buy it. Come on, man.
I'm getting some trauma vibes.
Yeah. The car is definitely, of the films of this sort of kind of ilk, the car is definitely the one that's the most fun. Okay, Return of the Living Dead. What are we giving it out of 10 here?
Oh, I'm giving it an 8. It's a solid 8. Is it a fantastic movie? No, but there's a certain fun factor that you
a
have
lot
to.
of fun, isn't it? A lot of fun.
Agreed. 8. It's
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
stuff,
8.
man. It's a good fun film.
All right, wicked. Cool. Critic Cow, one more quickly.
Okay, I'm going to pick another 1985 film, actually. And it's another kind of partly funny, partly horror film, seeing as Sammy nicked Return of the Living Dead.
Sorry.
And it's going to be Reanimator.
Awesome.
Now that was predominantly released in the UK on video.
Okay.
I remember all the big standees for it. It didn't get much of a cinema release in the.
Jeffrey Combs. It's a fun film. Again, another fun film.
I'm a massive fan.
Tongue firmly in cheek.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of the Coombs.
Oh man,
he's so good as the Vorta in.
Oh dude, how many roles has he played in Star Trek? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's been on almost every show, hasn't he?
FCA Officer Brunt, he's been nearly every single show. Sean in Enterprise, dude. I mean, he's been so much stuff.
Yeah,
this is good fun film.
Firmly tongue in cheek.
Very much so.
Directed by Stuart Gordon, who also did that prison film with Christopher Lambert, Fortress, and this is also out of the Charles Band, kind of era. So I can't remember if Charles Band produced this one, but his brother did the score for it. But I think it might have been part of that stable of interconnected production companies that were knocking out a load of B movies.
Yeah, I think they did a couple of sequels to it, but in my opinion, only the first one's really worth.
They did. I don't. I don't think you're right. I don't think the others have got much merit really.
But it's a good fun. It got Barbara, what's her name, the Scream Queen. She was in loads of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I remember her.
It's a good fun film.
I'd give it sort of 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I reckon about that. I could be pushed to
that feels right.
Personal taste, so it's so much fun.
It's a blast.
Like a decapitated head.
Yeah.
Between her legs. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that bit. Oh man, it's fucking nasty. But it's all done with her tongue in cheek, and Jeffrey Combs is great in it. And I really like this film. It's a lot of fun.
I do remember that scene. That's hilarious.
I don't think you can forget it.
Nice. The Prowler's on Amazon. I'm gonna watch that.
Fan Dad, give me one more quickly.
I think it's been a toss-up. I'll give an honourable mention to The Changeling with George C. Scott, but I think I'll go for Dawn of the Dead, the original Romero Dawn of the Dead.
Do you know what? I really like The Changeling. That's the one where they're hearing.
The kid upstairs in the bath. It's got a really good
in the bath. Yeah,
it's got a good story. It's almost like a detective story because he's got to solve like what happened to this kid, but it's also terrifying. The bit where they're doing the it's a seance, isn't it? And he's recording it, and they don't hear anything until he plays back the recording of the seance, and it's just like the hairs are standing up on my arms as I'm talking about it because he can hear the kid's voice in the background.
Yeah,
Joseph, I think he's called.
I don't think I've seen The Changeling. Obviously seen Dawn of the Dead, but I don't think I've seen The Changeling. What year is that?
Changeling is well worth your time.
1981 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's worth looking up. Like it's really good story as well as like it's got scary elements in there as well.
And Changeling I'm aware of is the original Star Trek episode.
No, it's not that one.
Yeah. Die, Joseph. Did you die in this house? Why'd you remain? Interesting.
Yeah, it's actually 1980, and it's a classic it's a classic ghost story, in a house.
Awesome. I'll watch it tomorrow at some point.
Where shit's happening. I really like it. It's one of the best haunted house movies I've ever seen. Dark Night of the Scarecrow. Not sure if I've seen that.
That's a good film. It's a revenge film. There's a lad who he's bullied because he's a bit mentally special, and his mum tries to protect him, but basically he gets bullied and accused of a crime, and they chase him, and he hides in the Scarecrow, and they kill him, and he comes back years later as the Scarecrow to kill them all in revenge. It's pretty good film.
Very good. All right. Well, look, it's 2:00, so I think I'm going to start to wrap things up there. Does any of my panelists want to plug anything quickly before we go?
Check out our Halloween stream next Friday. Or
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we're streaming Halloween with Northern English Bastard tomorrow, talking about that film.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just did a review of Venom 3, which, in my opinion, has the worst screenplay I have ever seen in my entire life.
That's what I've been hearing.
Drinker quite liked it, didn't he? He sort of thought it was okay, but
what does he know?
Just another
screenplay is just. I mean, there was moments of fun in it. Like Tom Hardy was doing quite well, but the screenplay. I mean, you don't need to turn your brain off. You need to lobotomize yourself. Okay. I mean, I've never seen a film that fundamentally sabotages its own premise.
Interesting.
Staggering, absolutely staggering. Other than that, I'll have stuff going up. I've got my Crow comparison video that's nearly finished. I'll go up in the next few days, maybe.
Well, coming up on the Outcast Creative channel, we do have actor Jeffrey Byron coming back. He is. We had to postpone his stream because he had a production meeting for a film he's involved with, but it has already been rescheduled. So he's in with us next week. You're talking about Reanimator. He did a load of films for Charles Band back in the 80s. He was like Charles Band's go-to good-looking leading man. So you'd catch him in things like Metal Storm and stuff like that. So he's in this.
In a future that grows ever closer, the fate of our Earth will lie in the hands of one man, a solitary warrior of great courage. His name is Dojin, and he is called the Finder.
Pretty sure that's the same guy that did the voice trailer for The Prowler. But yeah, as you can see, he's a bit older now, is Jeffrey. But he's actually the son of Hollywood star Anna Lee, who was the female lead in the original 1937 King Solomon's Mines.
Trying to work out who would have been in Star Trek.
So he's just got a small role in the Star Trek film.
Okay.
But he's from a Hollywood acting dynasty. His mother's done all of this stuff. So his godfather was John Ford.
Oh wow! Okay.
Who directed all the Western. So he's going to be an absolutely fantastic guest. Can't wait to get him in. I've got an independent screenwriter producer called Damari Dowie coming in. Then I've also got two DJs coming in pretty soon. Adele and Daya and Charmin Love, who is playing. I think she's playing in Brighton this weekend. I think it's either this weekend or next weekend. And Adele is also playing in London coming up pretty soon. So they're coming in together, which is going to be very fun. So looking forward to doing that. Don't forget, if you've got a creative project or you are a passionate creative, you've got something going on, could be a film, could be a book, could be a record, could be music, could be a game, get in touch with me. A couple of people have actually in this week. I've got a project I've got to check out. Looks pretty interesting. And if I can get you on and promote it, I will. Just remains for me to say thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to all the people watching. I hope you're going to have a good Halloween. And if you're not out getting scared by children running around, you can get scared by this song instead.
Hang out the lands at the Outcast Creative, where all the misfits and dreamers get innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews, where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you share your passion? Join the crew at Outcast. Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise, and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Filmmakers, comic book creators, stand up proud. Actors, musicians, board game designers, be loud. At Outcast Creative, amazing's the word. He even interviewed the legend, Galen Hurd.